Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Matt Thompson. I'm the pastor here at Winthrop Congregational Church in the town of Holbrook, Massachusetts. I've been the pastor here and had the honor for about a little over a year now. Holbrook, you might be wondering, where the heck is that? It's about 20 miles south of Boston. As you know, Boston is a very old city. Founded by the Puritans in 1630, well, it was their descendants who founded Holbrook a little bit later in 1710. And the town of Holbrook was actually incorporated as a town in 1872. Elijah Holbrook is actually the person the town named after. He was the one who founded City Hall. He also provided funds for the library. That's City Hall, right next to Winthrop. And we are dead smack in the middle of Holbrook. You couldn't ask for a better location. You got traffic flowing. You got the library that's right across the street. And Elijah Holbrook was also the deacon here at Winthrop. And that was from 1856 to 1865. That's Winthrop Church right behind me. Founded in 1818. That's right. We celebrate our 200th anniversary last year. Our church is actually older than the town of Holbrook itself. Our church is named after John Winthrop. He was the first governor of Massachusetts in the early 1600s. As you can see, we got a nice classical New England wood frame structure. The idea behind the tower, of course, is to house the bell. More importantly, it's to point to God as the head and source of the church. In fact, our mission statement here at Winthrop is pointing to God, reaching out to people. Why don't you follow me inside? We'll show you around. Our lovely front entrance here opens into a very classical foyer. And then the church really opens up. This is our main auditorium, and just like the outside, it's built according to traditional 19th century church architecture, with soaring vaulted ceilings, golden, beautiful chandeliers. We also have wooden pews and ornate wood trim. The details are seen all over the church. Now, this church, when it was built, it cost actually around $30,000 back then. In today's world, it would cost millions of dollars to make a church like this. But really, this building is irreplaceable due to the fact of the materials used and the workmanship that went into it. Let's go up to the front. I'll show you guys around. As you can see, just that ceilings, the way everything just opens up. We have beautiful stained glass windows. The light in here is so vibrant. Really symbolic of how we're trying to bring the light of Christ into the world. Now, in this church here, we actually have in our back a balcony, not really being used right now. It actually houses about 100 people. The main floor, as you can see here, very nice and open. It actually houses possibly about 500 people. When they originally built this church, they did estimate that potentially 600 people could be housed here. And in the front of the church, we have this amazing, beautiful choir loft, very traditional for the time period. And then behind it, this beautiful organ. Again, things that you just don't see anymore. We have an amazing wooden pulpit right over here, all very ornate. Look at the details that are put into everything. In fact, everything about the architecture tells you that the builders here, they wanted this structure to glorify God and to inspire the worshipers to do the same. Honor and glorify God. What the architecture cannot tell you is that, like so many mainline denominational New England churches, that this magnificent structure has seen a very slow and steady decline in attendance over the years. Now, this church peaked about 400 people in attendance, and that was actually in the late 1800s. However, today, it only houses about 30 members. Why did this happen? Not only to this church, but to all mainline Protestant churches across New England. Well, when the Pilgrims first arrived in 1609, they actually envisioned this new nation that would be, in the words of John Winthrop, the very first governor of Massachusetts, a city on a hill, acting as a beacon to the world of the presence of God's kingdom and his values. in how it's supposed to permeate human society. What would it look like if Christians established an outpost right here in the world? How about here in Holbrook, where believers were free to live in obedience to Jesus and his word, and more importantly, in harmony with one another? What happened to that vision? Why is New England the most secular, unbelieving region in all of America? I believe it can be summed up in 2 words: inertia and inflexibility. Inertia is a polite way of saying coasting, or worse, drifting. Anytime you experience success, whether it's a church, a business, or you as a person, the temptation is to always just keep doing what you've been doing. There's no apparent reason for change because they're going well. Well, that, according to the old adage that I'm sure we all are very familiar with, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Well, if the world did not change around you, that might actually be true. If music never changed, if fashion stayed the same, technology, language, architecture, culture, and most importantly, values, if none of that changed, then maybe your success today would lead to success tomorrow, and you'd have the luxury of coasting. Well, what I just described to you was the way the world was, and it worked until the 1800s. This industrial revolution took the world by storm. Until that time, change happened slowly, if at all. And so did the way that we worshiped. For most of the history of the church, about 2,000 years, worship was formal, it was predictable, guided by the assumption that change wasn't even necessary or even wise. And most importantly, there was a powerful assumption that the church pews would be filled because everyone knew that church attendance was something that good citizens would do as a matter of habit. Well, then entered the Industrial Revolution, and change became the dominant force and feature of our lives. With lightning speed, everything changed. All the assumptions we had became moving targets. Music, fashion, language, technology, and values, they began to change at first from one generation to another. Then it accelerated, one decade to another. And now at this point, it's year to year, massive overall changes. I feel like the changes keep accelerating. Well, in this environment, any good CEO knows coasting is not an option. That success today does not mean you'll be successful tomorrow. Fortunately, mainline churches like Winthrop, they never got the memo that the changes happening outside the church is going to require changes inside the church. That the unchanging gospel must be communicated in a way that makes sense to modern eyes and ears. We chose inertia over intention, drifting over discernment, and that led to some inflexibility. We kind of clung to the hymns, our formal dress, our language, our liturgies, and with the same passion, we rightfully clung to our biblical teaching and values. This inflexibility, it became kind of like a badge of honor, showing the outside world that we would never change who we were. And of course, the outside world, well, you took notice. You rejected our worship style. As a result, rejected God. So here we are, church on the edge. The question is, are we on the edge of extinction? Or are we on the edge of a rebirth? I can tell you, the faithful remnant here, they have been planning and praying for rebirth in every area of our lives, our walk with the Lord, our worship, our music, our tech, our preaching, so that we can earn the right to be able to help our neighbors find and follow Jesus. I am asking that you consider partnering with Winthrop in prayer, remembering us here in Holbrook as we work to change our story from one of decline to one of rebirth. I'm also asking that you partner with us financially, since most of our planning requires money. Our most immediate need is to replace this corner post, which, why don't we go take a look at that right now. Big, beautiful church and lovely scaffolding to boot now. Taking in all of the construction going on. So right now, as you can see, this local contractor is jacking up the corner from the sill all the way to the roof line. They're going to be removing an old post that was located right over there, and also the rafters up there. The reason this needs to be replaced is because without this cornerstone, so to speak, all of this church would come tumbling down and this building would cease to exist. This project is going to cost us upwards of $180,000, which will take away money vital for upgrades to our ministry, to the community, to sound system, to lighting. So I am asking you that you would join us in this great adventure to bring new life to a dying New England church. Help us to be part of making good on that pilgrim vision that New England, we would be a city on a hill, offering hope and new life in Jesus to our neighbors. Oh, and be sure to check out our Facebook page. Go to Winthrop Congregational whenever you think of us here in Holbrook. It is a great tool to stay connected with us and to check on the progress on the different construction that we have kind of going on here as we help our neighbors find and follow Jesus. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much in advance for partnering with us. God bless.